What is the reason why a lot of students never reach the fluency that they really wanted? On this video, we'll answer this question for you. Hello number ones, welcome back to Metatron Academy. So a lot of people decide to study languages because there are a lot of appealing reasons. I mean, learning to speak another language is fantastic. It opens possibilities not only from a career perspective that can of course connect to possible financial gains and job opportunities, but also because of interhuman relationships. You get to go to a country, enjoy the customs, understand the people, create real connections to the language, the history, the culture, the people, the area you get to move. It opens up a whole world. That's why so many of us enjoy the idea of, man, I really want to learn X language for whatever reason. Now, we could make a video dedicated to what the best options for languages in 2026 are, and if you're interested in that idea, please let me know in the comments. But for today, we're actually going to focus on why so many people fail. There are many factors, and I don't want to give you like a one single reason, so we'll try to discuss at least three. But I think one of the major reasons why people fail in reaching the goals they really wanted is this: they quit. I know this sounds obvious, but it really isn't. Every person or every student or pupil who decided to start learning languages, they never thought they were going to quit. The majority of them thought, I'm going to do this. Yes, because otherwise, why would you even start in the first place? Everyone has that little bit of faith in themselves that, I'm going to start learning French. Oh, I really want to, let me have a look. It means that at the very beginning of that journey, they all believed up to a certain extent that they could reach a decent level in that language and learn a few things, perhaps even learn to speak and understand. But then something happens and they quit. Here's a real harsh truth when it comes to language learning. Every student who quits is a student who fails, which means that had you stuck to it, you would have eventually succeeded. Now, does this mean that everyone will get to the fluency they imagine? No, some people stay in the intermediate range, and there are methodological problems that we often address on this channel and in my book, link in the description to the crowdfunding, more on that later. Does everyone have to become a C2 ultra proficient speaker? Obviously not. But a lot of people would at least get to an intermediate level where they can have a day-to-day, everyday sort of conversation in a way that is nice, fulfilling, and fun. Everyone can reach that as long as they don't quit. So the reality is that while it may take longer or a shorter amount of time, depending on how technical you are, whether or not you're applying the correct methods of study, how experienced you are, how difficult of a language you're picking up, your personal lifestyle, how busy you are, the time it takes and the maximum potential level you can reach are the variables of language learning. But you getting to a point where you could reach an intermediate level and be able to actually speak, maybe not fluently, but you can speak it, everybody can reach that. And the people that don't are the people that quit. So why do they quit? Having established that the first problem is the people quit in the first place, because had they not quit, they would have at least reached a medium level, intermediate level. The next thing we need to examine is why they quit. And one of the reasons often is, among others, wrong goals. And then the third one will be, I'm just going to tell you now to see if you're interested, but the third one would be changes in their personal life. We'll get to that. What about these goals, though? I think one of the things that harms people the most when it comes to language learning is indeed wrong expectations. And these wrong expectations are always a product of marketing. There is so much content, videos, books, magazines, polyglot scumbags that try to teach you these absolutely impossible and scientifically illiterate takes and promises. They teach you can learn any language in 3 months, in 2 weeks. I picked up a language in 10 days, sound like a native in a month, 10,000 words in a month, and this kind of nonsense. This is a problem, not only because, they're lies. So, language learning takes time. You can speed up the process monumentally if you do the right things, don't get me wrong. But still, this is all nonsense. We know that, but a lot of people don't. They believe it. And so not only it creates a weird expectation in their minds that then when they will inevitably fail, they'll think, okay, this is just not for me, because they thought they could do that. They weren't told, they weren't actually professionally assessed, as I always did. I never gave a single fit all answer to all my students when they asked me how long is it going to take me to reach fluency or to reach B2, for instance. I assessed depending on the individual. I can give you some general ideas and parameters, But then I will have to, for a more precise and professional answer, I'll have to look at your case one by one. And then I'll be able to tell you, okay, I think it's going to take you this long. I think, because there is always a little bit of variability there with the answer. And the reality is that these people that tell you, I learned a language in a month and I'm fluent, I'm amazing, and then it's not even true. And then you try, and after a month, yeah, of course, you're better than where you were before. Perhaps you learned a few things. Maybe you're even doing great. But you don't know that, because who are you comparing yourself to? To an impossible goal, which means you'll feel bad, you'll think you're doing something wrong, and then you'll just give up on it because your expectation was wrong. This is why I think that when it comes to the kind of damage that false marketing does, it shows selfish intent. It shows that these people, when you see them, you should avoid them like the plague, like the Black Death, Yersinia pestis bacterium, the one that freaking annihilated a massive chunk of the medieval European population, that one. They only care about themselves, they care about the views, because the views make money. People don't even know how much money you can make in this space, on YouTube alone. That's without even selling the courses and the books on top of that. These people are in for the money. They don't care that they're damaging you. And personally, it upsets me because I know how much joy reaching fluency can give to people who are passionate like me, and statistically you, since you clicked this video. I know how much joy you can bring when you actually are given the correct tools and the right expectations. But before we do that, massive announcement. Check this out. You're gonna love it. As many of you know, or at least I think you know, I've been writing a book, my new journey into becoming an author. I've mentioned this on a few videos and on X, but this book was indeed crowdfunded. Now, any person who has donated or will donate to the crowdfunding will receive a full audiobook, and this is crowdfunding exclusive. So, as a way to say thank you to the people that have donated and supported my dream of becoming an author, if you have a minimum of $5 donation, you will receive the entirety of the audio file of the book, recorded by me with my voice, no AI involved, as a crowdfunding exclusive reward. This applies retroactively, so for all 262 donors that I've had so far, you'll get this, and anyone who decides to donate $5 or more, thank you very much, never expected, always appreciated, then you will be guaranteed a audio file of the book by the end of the crowdfunding campaign. Important, once the crowdfunding campaign is over, this audiobook version will not be made for sale. So this is, once again, crowdfunding exclusive. It's a perk. If you're interested in the audiobook, click the link in the description, and thank you so much. The last thing, of course, that we mentioned was changes in your life. I mean, some people, it's not their fault. When you were not busy at that point, you had a lot of time, and so you were working on your language, decided to pick up French or Italian, but then unfortunately things changed. You had to get a new job. Maybe your financial situation changed and now you have to do 2 jobs. Or perhaps you're just too busy for other reasons. You're looking after your mom, you're looking after, I mean, this happened to me when my mom had cancer. And so the reality is that, and of course in that time, until she unfortunately passed, I had 0 time. I had to give up on everything, like Japanese, Chinese, and all that. So the reality is that this can happen and it's not your fault. If this is what happened, then I seriously and sincerely hope that you can, your life can change and then you have some extra time. And also, I still think you should check out good channels, because they will teach you how to utilize and optimize your time slots. Because maybe you think that in order to reach a decent level in a language, you need to study it for like 5 hours, 10 hours a day. And yeah, that would be fantastic. The more the better. However, even if you only have 1 hour a day, you can really make monumental progress as long as you use that hour in the best way possible. That's what you need, not the nonsense. And the reality is, just don't quit. Just like going to the gym, if you persist and you do things right, you will get the body you want. And the people that don't get the body they want is because either they were doing everything wrong, weren't sleeping, weren't eating properly, were not doing the exercises right, or they just didn't do it. They stopped. They did it for 3 months. They didn't become Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then they decided, never mind, this is not for me. But hey, they stuck to it. It's the same thing. Anyways, I hope you found this interesting. Thank you for watching Metatron's Academy.